I'd like to welcome John White, DTM, to the stage, our beloved president and our Toastmaster for today's meeting.
Thank you very much for that impromptu introduction. Vicky, we just met earlier this morning and you already know that much about me. Actually, we go many years back. Great to see you all. We have 3 speeches today. The theme of the meeting is March Madness. When I mentioned that to Vicky, she said that's sort of provincial and only related to the United States. That's a phrase that we have here for NCAA basketball. But it does bring up this notion of madness and when you act out of character. In my case, March Madness literally wreaked havoc in my marriage. I was getting married on April 1st, 1995. I know April Fool's Day, it did not bode well for the marriage. I'm since divorced. You know how this ended. But we're preparing to get married. And we were late leaving for the marriage. I'm never late. Why were we late? Because my beloved UCLA Bruins were playing, and it was a close game. They were trying to qualify for the finals. My bride-to-be was saying, let's go. It's never happened where I'm running late. And she couldn't believe that I would delay our nuptials for this basketball. Where's my priorities? Well, we went, we got married. I would have probably learned from the experience. No, we got on a plane, went to Paris, and Monday, the final was there. And I spent much of my time trying to figure out if I could get a TV that had the NCAA final. So that's an example of madness, Vincent. Sometimes you need to step beyond your condition, realize that you're acting irrationally and that you're ultimately hurting yourself. So we may speak later on about madness that you've experienced and how that's impacted your life. So March Madness, may you handle it better than I did. With that, we're going to jump into the meeting. Welcome you all. It's great to see you. Harold G, always a pleasure. Eunice, I see you as well. Let me just say hi to the guests first as I'm scanning. Mr. McCrae, we'll hear from you later, but maybe just a quick hello and how did you find out about us?
Yeah, thank you. I just used Find a Club on Toastmasters. So just enter a city, find a club, select by day, time. I'm in Scotland, so I've got to find a time zone that works for me, and you guys work for me. So here I am.
Well, great. You work for us. An inside joke that you won't quite get. You're the first guest here who is not referred to by Muriel Shabazz. So there'll be a prize and a Starbucks gift card or something for you later on. One slipped by without your involvement, Muriel. Sheila LaChance, as I recall last time you were having mouth issues, was it? I know that sounds strange. Is your dental situation improved?
Yes. A-okay, ready to go.
An awkward introduction. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay, good. Good to see you. Look forward to hearing you participate in Table Topics. Is another thing. Eunice Downing Jackson, good morning. How did you find out about us? Muriel Shabazz. Okay, let us know a little more about yourself, Eunice.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Yes, I was referred by Muriel. And I'm just happy to be here. I don't consider myself a guest anymore.
That's wonderful. We don't either. And when you're in that place where you don't think you're a guest, but you're not quite a member, we have a cure to that. It's called joining the club, Eunice. Joining the club. We don't accept everyone, but I'll put in a good word for you. Muriel's sponsorship. Vicky likes you. I think this could work. Hey, Pat Caslin, how are you? Belkis MC PhD, congratulations on your doctorate. Can you say hi to us?
Yes, I can say hi.
Hi, great. What is the MC PhD? Are you a doctorate or did I just make that up?
No, not close. Marion County Public Health Department.
Oh, okay, great. How did you find out about us?
Marjorie Duarte Sheffield, she invited me.
Great.
And I'm happy to attend it.
Great. Good to have you. I hope you enjoyed the meeting.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank you for being here, Belkis. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Belkis, have you been to a meeting before?
This is my first time.
Okay, so there's an agenda. that you can access. Just so you know, it's a public speaking group, and we try to give everyone an opportunity to speak. There's 3 sections. There's prepared speeches. That's one. Then there's the evaluations of those speeches. That's the second one. And then there's an impromptu speaking which is called table topics. The person that runs that's going to ask if you're willing to participate. That's where we ask you a question and you have up to 1 to 2 minutes to respond. So that's the format of this meeting. I hope you're comfortable participating. If you're not, we honor and respect that.
Thank
So
you.
welcome. Let us now get into the meeting itself. Have I missed any business? Anything that we should have covered?
John, it's April. I arrived late to the party. However, I still am your SAA. Would you like me to hit some highlights?
I would love to do the highlights. Just so the introducing my part, Vicky aggressively took that role from you. It was shameless self-promotion, but please, if you could set up the parameters and the tone of the meeting.
The tone of the meeting is to just admire so much how excellent each and every one of you are at paying attention to the way you communicate. And so we're going to celebrate that today. I apologize for being late. I'd give you a 2-minute warning, but it came on the heels of another session, and I just accept your forgiveness. We are going to be together for about an hour and a half. And you want to keep your phone off at this point, but keep your camera on unless you're eating or moving about the cabin. And then you'll want to go ahead and click off the screen. And then when you return, click back on. We're going to be having an excellent day. I tell you, this is the best group ever. And with that, it is now my pleasure to bring to our virtual stage the dynamic, always intentional, and fun-loving elected president of Masters of Evaluation, our John White.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We've covered all the hellos and everything. Before we jump into the meeting itself, we like to acknowledge and celebrate our members for their accomplishments within Toastmasters and outside. And a little birdie told me that a relatively new member, Tamara Evans, earned quite a distinction. She was in a speech contest. We're familiar with that. I believe it was an evaluation contest. Is that correct? And Tamara came in 3rd place. Please unmute and congratulate her.
Sandra.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Tamara, you'll be speaking later, but maybe just a few seconds. What was your experience? What was the highlights of that? Anything you'd like to share about that experience?
It was an interesting experience, and it even inspired me to write a speech based on it. So one of the next speeches will be about that experience. It will be subtly involved into the speech.
Great. Well, congratulations. And to everyone here who has not participated in a speech contest, it's really something you should do, whether it's international, table topics, what have you. It will stretch you and you will grow. Wonderful. I am Toastmaster. For those of you who are speaking, David, I've got you covered, but if you have an introduction, if you could just put that in the chat for me. I would like to now introduce the functionaries of our meeting. You know her. She's introduced me. I've known her for a long time. She's like the sister I never had. She's Victoria Trabash. Victoria, what will you be doing today?
You know, John, you're like the brother I never had. I have 2 brothers and they're nothing like you. I am your Zoom master, and I am going to be busy as a monkey climbing a tree trying to get bananas pinning everybody when they're speaking. I want to showcase people. So, for instance, when Tamara is doing table topics, I will pin the person she chooses as either speaker or snap evaluator. I'll pin the speakers with the evaluators on the screen, and I'll be doing all that in the background. I'm also watching for people that try to come in the room and let them in, and I will not let people in during the middle of a speech, but will let people in otherwise. So that's it. Back to you, brother.
Great. Thank you, sister. As I do have a brother, but as my family grows, I now have a sister, Victoria. If I had a second brother, it would be Vincent Ray. Vincent, what will you be doing, sir?
I have the pleasure tonight here in Europe to be your general evaluator. And I will give you some feedback on particularly what our functionaries have been doing, like the evaluators of the speeches, the evaluator of the time, the evaluator of the general meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and it's great to see you. Our word of the day, grammarian, counter. That's a mouthful. He's doing a lot. He's doing it in meetings and off meetings as our VP of Public Relations. Jesper, what will you be doing today, sir?
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Today's theme is March Madness, and following today's theme, our word of the day is teamwork, which is defined as the collaborative effort of a group to achieve a common goal or to complete a task in an effective and efficient way. I will post that in the chat, and let's go for at least 30 uses of the word teamwork. And I know we have some guests today, and I encourage our guests to use teamwork as much as they could, because maybe, just maybe, our club president John might give them a higher chance to join our club. So let's use the word teamwork.
Oh, wow. He's listening to and incorporating it. He's a well-functioning, high-performing Toastmaster. Shantae, did you say it's teamwork makes dream work? Is that what you're always saying when I'm at these meetings
Teamwork
with you?
makes the dream work. Yes.
Say that one more time.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's two.
We have a great team. That's great. Speaking of an ideal teammate, who I always love working with, I'm getting emotional. She's our timer, Muriel Shabazz. What will you be doing?
I will be keeping the time as one of the members of the team because I believe in teamwork. I'm going to be assisting everyone to stay within their timing boundaries. We have 3 speakers, and I believe there are 5 to 7 minutes. Is that correct? Or would somebody brief me? Is that
David's is definitely, so is Shantae.
Okay.
Sandra, did that cover you?
3 minutes for me.
Oh, 3? Okay, Sandra. Would you like me to do 1, 2, and 3, or how would you like me to break it up?
Anything you want, I'm game for.
All right, I like a woman like that. Okay, so for the 5 to 7 minutes, 5 minutes, I'll show the green. At 6 minutes, I will show the yellow. And at 7 minutes, I will show the red. But you will have an additional 30 seconds to wrap up your thoughts. For the snap evaluations, I believe it's 1 minute. Maybe when we get there, I'll show the timing then so we'll remember and it'll be fresh. Okay, I'll keep my hand in the upper left-hand corner of the screen so you can see the timer equally well. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. We are now going to go on to our first speaker. As you know, we usually have the evaluator queue up the speaker. I think in this case, Judith, it's not necessary because David's doing an international speech. Is that right? Or did you have some notes you wanted to share with us?
Oh, me? Nothing much. I think David already put the Google form in there. So that's what he actually would like to know about. So.
Great. I didn't want to step over your role. So as Sandra indicated, there's a link where David would like your feedback. He's an international speech contestant. And so, as you know, the format of that is to mention his name, the title, and his name. And please fill out the form afterwards to give valuable feedback to Mr. McCrae. Our first speaker, David McCrae, your best friend. Your best friend, David McCrae.
He has long blonde hair, his arm is in a sling, and there's ink all over his fingers. This is who I find myself sitting next to on my first day of high school. What'd you do to your arm?
Well, I was on my bike and it didn't have any brakes. I fell off at the bottom of a hill and broke my collarbone.
Who's this genius I'm sat next to? Turns out, he's going to be the best man at my wedding. From that very first day, Brad and I are opposite ends of a rainbow. I'm tall, he's short. I'm academic, he can't wait to leave school. I'm an extrovert, he's an introvert. But we soon find the commonalities between us. Schwarzenegger movies, zombie apocalypse planning, and dad jokes. and we fast become best friends. Another shared love we have is house music. In our early 20s, we're at a rave. After hours of sweaty gyrating, we have to go outside for some fresh air. As I sit there on that cold street with Brad, he turns to me. Dude, I've got to tell you something. I wonder what Brad has to tell me. We've been best friends for over a decade. We've seen each other naked. There are no secrets between us anymore. What is it, man? I'm bisexual. Oh, wow. Awesome. How long have you known? Well, I've started going on some dates with guys, and I've really liked it. I guess I've always known. Did you ever guess? I had no idea. In that moment, I feel like a terrible friend. What do you do when you feel like you've totally let down your best friend? We grew up in rural Scotland, not a cosmopolitan place. In our high school friendship group, there were a bunch of young, insecure men trying to prove themselves. When you thought something was rubbish, you called it gay. When you wanted to insult someone, you called them gay. And gay was the nicest word we used. I've called Brad homophobic slurs in the name of banter. I'm not proud of that. How was Brad ever supposed to feel accepted when even his best friend was part of the problem? You see, I was living in my little straight bubble, and the little straight bubble protects you from the challenges that queer people like Brad have to face. The bubble is opaque, and it's not until someone you love comes along and pops it that you see the world how it really is. The year he comes out to me, Brad hosts a New Year's party. I sit in his living room opposite two men. One man keeps on calling his companion homophobic slurs. I snap. Hey! You realize the host of this party's bisexual? What? I'm just joking. Can't you take a joke? That man was young, university educated. Brad invited him into his home with an open heart, and he got rewarded with a closed mind. Last year, my wife and I are walking home from a Pride March, covered in rainbows. A group of schoolboys, still in their uniform, walk past. As they do, one turns and spits at us. If that's how he treats a heterosexual couple walking down the street, how do you think he treats Brad and his partner walking down the street? These examples are not dinosaurs of discrimination. They are a dynasty of discrimination. This generational hate stains our society until we do something to stop it. How do we stop it? We stop it when we start treating everyone like they're your best friend. When your best friend expresses themselves, you support them. When your best friend is attacked, you stand up for them. When your best friend doesn't have the same level of equality that you do, you fight for them. That's what friends do. And when you realize you haven't been a good enough friend, you make it right. When I shared this speech with Brad, he said,
Well, dude, if you want to make it up to me, then you have to do the speech wearing the gayest shirt you can find. How'd I do?
Great.
Brad and I are different in many ways, but there's one key difference. I'm straight, he's bi. That makes life easier for me and harder for him. I don't deserve that privilege, and he does not deserve that punishment. That first day, I could have judged Brad for all the reasons why he was different from me. But here's the thing. Brad and I are not best friends despite our differences. We're best friends because of our differences. Brad adds color to my life because he's different. Brad teaches me things because he's different. Brad encourages and motivates me because he's different. And when we give others permission to be different, we all benefit as a result. I love Brad. I'm proud of him for having the courage to embrace his differences. Will you have the courage to help others embrace their differences? Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. If we could have a minute of silence to give the feedback. And Mr. McCrae has put a link, which I believe has been shared in the chat. If you could hit that Google Doc and give your feedback through that form. Thank you.
That's 1 minute.
Great. Thank you for that very much. Mr. G, you're our next speaker's evaluator. I have her introduction and all that. Is there anything you wanted to share with us as far as Ms. Howard's speech and what to look for? And also, if we can mute ourselves, please.
Ms. Howard is a skillful speaker. I'm looking for vocal variety. I'm looking for pauses that'll put some more emphasis on certain parts of her speech. And she has a very pleasing voice, vocal voice. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to her speech to be interesting.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. I will move on to the introduction. Sorry, I'm looking for this. Shantae is working on her level 5 managing event. The title to her speech is Creating the D1 Expo. A little background on Shantae. As a visionary leader, Shantae is on a mission to ignite the flame of purpose within individuals and small businesses alike. With nearly 2 decades of remarkable experience in accounting and finance, she embarked on a transformative journey where Shantae's unwavering commitment to helping people unearth their why led her to shift her focus towards human development, making leadership and mentorship her forefront passions. Please help me welcome her as she gives her speech, Creating the D1 Expo. Shantae?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Welcome guests and welcome Masters of Evaluation members. I had the pleasure of creating the first District 1 Expo. And today I'm going to walk you through just the process of creating the expo and all the wonderfulness that we got to experience at this event. For those who don't know me, I am Shantae Howard. My role this year is District 1 Club Growth Director. For those who don't know what a Club Growth Director does, I essentially have 2 responsibilities this year. The first one is to assist the district with building new clubs. So when you have a club idea, I'm the person you come to and we bring that idea to fruition. My second responsibility this year is club retention. So part of club retention is assisting clubs with building their membership, with event planning, or anything that they need help with to bring their clubs to excellence. Now, MoE is already a club of excellence, so you guys probably don't use me as much as some of the other clubs, but me and my team are available for clubs that need additional assistance. So one of the things I wanted to think about this year was how do we grow the district, but not necessarily just grow the district in a fun way, because it's all about fun. It's all about just enjoying what we're doing. A lot of the feedback that I kept getting this year and in previous years was that things are kind of boring and we do the same things over and over. It's very repetitive. Not MoE. MoE is great. We're amazing. But some of the other clubs are experiencing kind of just, draining energy. So I wanted to do something that would be fun, but also help grow the district. So I came up with the idea of let's do an exposition. A lot of things, if you are within the district, you know that a lot of clubs kind of recycle members. A lot of us, self-included, belong to maybe 3, 4, 5 clubs. So it's hard when we're trying to grow membership because the same people are kind of tapped out. We need new energy. So how do we bring new people to the district? And my thought was, well, let's bring the district to the people. And so I came up with this idea for an exposition. I talked with my executive team and they were all on board. They thought it was an amazing idea. We were really excited. We were pumped up and we're like, hey, let's get this started. Let's bring your idea to fruition. It's going to be great. So we started building. Now, first thing we needed to do is we needed to create buy-in from the clubs. Will the clubs want to participate in my exposition? So we built a sign-up form, and some of you may have seen me, those of you who are officers may have seen me at TLI running around, collecting signatures, passing out flyers, because we were working on getting buy-in from the district. Is this something that people were really interested in participating in? Because if we didn't have the district to participate, well, we don't have an event. But lo and behold, we got buy-in. People were excited. We got the signups. We were ready. We were excited. So now it was about finding a location. I found a location that was within budget, and I just started building out a floor plan. What is this going to look like? How many clubs can we fit in this? Because we did have buy-in, but obviously the district has 147 clubs. There was no way we were going to fit 147 clubs in the space that we had. So how many clubs were we able to fit in? What is this floor plan going to look like? I actually created this floor plan on Magic Plan. So for those of you who do events or want to create floor plans, you can create your own. I did this on Magic Plan. It was completely free. But we built the floor plan. Then we knew, okay, we could fit up to 30 people. So now we were marketing, sending out emails, and working towards getting the district, but also working towards now getting the public. So how did we get the public? Well, a couple ways. We started creating advertising. I created a flyer, and this is the flyer. So many of you may have seen this floating around on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, or in your email, because I was emailing it to everybody. And we created a flyer about the event. We actually created 2 separate flyers, one for the district, one for the public, because they're 2 different audiences. So there are 2 different action items that we wanted from each. Once we created that, I got testimonials from a lot of the Toastmasters that have been Toastmasters for years and some that are brand new Toastmasters. We created testimonials. I was running around at TLI getting videos from everybody. And I used those testimonials to help promote the district. I put them on social media. I was blasting them in our ads so that people can see that this is a great idea. This is why people love Toastmasters. We also put ads everywhere. Word of mouth is always going to be absolutely amazing and one of the easiest ways to promote, but we also got newspaper ads. We put ads on Nextdoor. We shared on our social medias. We reached out to local colleges and gave them our press release. We reached out to a lot of different news outlets, and Issue Wire as well was a great outlet for us to utilize. So lo and behold, it's daytime. It is time for the event, and the event was absolutely amazing, and it was absolutely a success. As you can see, we ended up having 25 clubs that came in and set up booths within the space that we had, and we ended up getting over 100 people walk through the door. Toastmasters set up their tables with their ribbons. It was a great way to kind of network and see people we haven't seen in a while. People brought out their banners, snacks, sign-up sheets. It was a really good, fun day to not only just connect with people, but also just to see what other clubs are in the district and what they're doing. So this was just an amazing thing for newcomers and for those of us who have been Toastmasters for a while. We all made so many great connections. You see John and Muriel right there in the center. We made some great connections. We talked. We played games. We won prizes. And here is a snapshot of some of the people that were visiting that were not Toastmasters. We brought them up on stage and said, hey, we're going to do this thing we call Table Topics. And we asked them questions and they all participated. It was actually a lot of fun. So all in all, we had 25 clubs participate. 70 non-Toastmasters signed up for this event. That's a lot. We had 120 people walk through the door. 3 clubs signed up members on the spot. And all of the clubs had an average of 15 and more. I saw up to like 30 names on a couple people's sign-up sheets. So it was an amazing event. So if you are interested in having an event, I say all you need to do to start is have an amazing idea, build a team, get buy-in, because that's important. Make sure you market, and most importantly, have fun. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
That's how you do it. That's how you give a speech and give an expo. I was somewhat involved. It was a great event. And while we're here for speaking and leadership, I think one of the unknown miracles of Toastmasters is it really helps you with event planning. Really advanced, and people have great ideas on how to, as you say, coordinate it and then market it and get buy-in. A minute of silence, please, while you give feedback to Shantae for Expo 2, for Expo 24, 25, whenever it might be.
All right, that's 1 minute.
Great, thank you. We're moving on to our third speaker. This one's slightly different. Mr. Graham will not be evaluating, and in fact, it will not have an evaluator. So just a note to the file for our general evaluator down the road. But Mr. Ray Sweeney would like to introduce our next speaker. Ray?
Thank you, John, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, good evening. Sandra is working on, good morning even, depending on where you are. Sandra is working on delivering her social speeches project to introduce David Thompson to his fellow Masters of Evaluation. Using the lessons learned in Prepare for an Interview and Active Listening, Sandra's overall goal today is for you to enjoy and welcome David Thompson with as much enthusiasm as she does. The floor is yours, Sandra Savage.
Thank you, David, or Ray. And David, before I begin, I have to warn you about David. You need to expect the unexpected. I found out a very interesting fact about him. He is one of the 3% in the world with a mixed dominance. He is right-handed, but he leads with his left foot, which in his own words said that makes him a menace on the sports field. I can imagine. I'd like to dance with him too. Not only is he mixed and has an interesting and unusual background, another dichotomy is that even though he's a country boy, he's lived in the city most of his life. But he's on a new adventure now. Not only has he joined our club, but he is now living in the city, spending his time walking about and getting to know what are his new surroundings. As you can surmise, David was born in England. He has done some traveling, including to Portugal and Finland. What I think is really cool, though, is he chose to help people from other countries learn English. he taught adults how to learn English. So he was an ESL teacher for many, many years. And he also has experienced people from both the west and the east of Germany after the wall came down in Berlin. So I think that's fascinating. Though he proclaims to be shy, get this. He likes drama. He wanted to be on the stage. He wanted the lights, the action. Oh, the speaking. Not so much. So he realized he wanted to improve and become a little less shy and outgoing and just feel confident. So 27 years ago, fortuitously, a gentleman by the name of Keith bumped into him and said, "Hey, come to the pub. We're having a Toastmasters meeting." So along he went and he joined Toastmasters. He's led in many clubs and in fact received quite a few awards as a leader, and has continually worked on his speaking, writing, and leadership skills. So now David is one of us. What does he want from Masters of Evaluation? Well, the same reason most of us came, feedback. He is like us, even though he's very different, right-handed, left foot, but he wants to be a better communicator. He wants to practice his speech writing. He wants to practice his delivery and get feedback from all of us. So can we all unmute ourselves and clap or woohoo?
Woo!
Woohoo! Yay, David!
Woo-hoo. Yay, David!
Back to you, John.
Thank you very much. That was very helpful, and I definitely know David much better now. I'll be on the lookout. We are now going to ask for the timers report. Ms. Shabazz.
Okie dokie. So, for David McCrae, your best friend, David's time was 7 minutes and 17 seconds. Creating the D1 Expo, Shantae Marie Howard Jordan, aka Princess. She had so much to share. I tell you, it was wonderful. She came in at 7 minutes and 55 seconds. And Sandra Savage, what a great introduction to David. 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Great, thank you. Well done. We now are moving on to impromptu speaking. It's my pleasure to turn it over to our table topics master, Ms. Tara. Please take it up. Sorry, Ms. Tamra Evans. Sorry, Tamra.
Okay. As we don't have much time, I'll explain the rules in rhyme. You'll hear questions based on pictures, which will funny things portray. Try to use imagination and the word of the day. All you say is good enough. Just try to make the people laugh. Don't be shy. Create fun comments and enjoy the frolic moments. You will have 2 minutes each to deliver impromptu speech. 1 minute snap evaluation will follow each presentation. Everybody should have fun. Let's look at picture number 1. Question. What might that mean? Listen. I am a snowman. Am I a snowman or a sandman? Who can help me understand? Shall I enjoy the beach vacation or shall I think what's in the end? We will ask Pat to answer this question. I'll take the picture away.
Quite an existential question, Madam Topics Master. There is a parallel, I think, between those and the snowman concept, and it's snowing here in Dublin today, and the Sandman concept, because both of them will find their time, and their time is probably relatively short because heat will melt the snow and the sea will come in and melt the Sandman. But I did like your Sandman's sense of humor. I loved the starfish around the base. I loved the glasses. I loved the smile that was on his face, and I loved the little stick arms that came out of him. And he had quite a nice portly demeanor about him, and somebody that I think you'd like to meet if you went to the beach. So I think I did like your snowman. And I would say he is pondering that existential question: am I a snowman or a sandman, and how long will I last? And this is a question really that we should all ask ourselves, because when you think about it, or to quote Confucius, we have two lives. Our second one begins when we realize we only have one, and I'd say our snowman is wondering how long his second life is going to be. So there you go. Mark Twain said it differently. He said the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And I think that your Sandman is going to find out why, just like a snowman would if he were built in Dublin today. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. And now we will ask Harold to give a 1-minute snap evaluation, please.
You just heard a skilled speaker. It's interesting. He points out how the quotes he has at the end are quite interesting. But the Sandman, as he says, compared to a snowman, their lives are quite limited. The Sandman will be melted by the ocean. At the same time, it has other symbolism around the Sandman, the weeds and things that decorate him. But the voice that Pat gives, a little philosophy about how, when you learn what the purpose of your life is, and then you find out you only have one life, that gives you no purpose. That seems to embellish the question he was given. He frames it in a very uplifting way, an inspirational way, a thoughtful way. Not using teamwork, but he did do it in a thoughtful way. Fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you. Okay, now let's look at the next picture, and we'll have to figure out what that means. Do you see the picture or not? Probably not. Share the screen. Oh, no. Now you see the picture. Good. So what might that mean? Listen to the question. The dog doesn't eat the chickens, neither does it chase the cat. All are gazing through the window. What do you think they are looking at? We will ask April to answer this question.
I am delighted to tell you that those creatures are looking at my new great niece, born just a week ago. They are all enthralled. Oh my golly, Skylar Rose is here. Look at that dark hair she has. Not like her great aunt. No, dark hair. And she is just a bundle of snoozy joy. The kitty goes, oh, I could get up next to that one and do some purring. Okay. And the chickens go, oh, cluckety-doo-dah. That's no egg. That is a little new life. A new life. Even the dog has appreciation for the new life. In fact, that dog looks like Miller, who is really in her household and just very curious about who this young lady is. Doesn't quite know because she's pretty little. But I know, as Great Aunt April, and I could be in that picture with those animals too, because I am enthralled with having the opportunity to welcome this new life to my family. Thank you so much.
Thank you. A wonderful guess. Now we will ask John Graham to snap evaluate this answer, please.
Thank you, Tamara. You know, April, you are very accomplished. You do a great job in converting this picture into a real experience in your life. And you brought us inside with you. I love the fact that your great niece, Skylar Rose. Do you have a Doctor Who connotation there? Anyhow, great job in presenting that. Bringing us into to meet your niece through the eyes of a dog, chicken, and cat. I can't think of anything better than that. That was a wonderful story. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Now let's look at the next picture and let's try to figure out what that would mean. Okay, we will ask Vincent to comment on that. Oh, sorry, the question. What a strange situation. Has the wedding yet taken place, or is it part of preparation? What do you think is the case? Now we will ask Vincent.
Yes, weddings always have a strange way to start. Now, we all focus on the knees of the wife. But have you looked at the sunglasses of the spouse? Did you look at the cars behind them? No, you didn't. And this is something we should be aware of. We always look at the obvious. We look at women's legs. But we should be more mindful. We should open our eyes and look at the cars in the background. Look at the glasses of the spouse, because they might reveal precisely what is actually happening in the situation. And indeed, it is not a wedding. It is a movie. And this is part of the setup of this movie. And the two cars behind there are the cars of the crew, the cameramans, the makeup artists. So now, suddenly, just looking at the obvious is sometimes not right. Look at the hidden message. There you will find answers which you would not expect. This is called teamwork.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. And now we will ask John, the Toastmaster of today, please give a snap evaluation.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I must say, I'm glad I didn't have this question, and it took Vincent's obvious gift for seeing the unobvious. When he said we look at the obvious, we look at women's legs. I wonder how everyone gets away with this stuff. Whenever I try, I get a call from human resources or I get slapped. So you handled it very well. I was having a little language issue. I thought you were talking, I think you were saying cars, not calves. And I said, man, this guy went from legs to calves. Where's he going? Is he going up or down the leg? I was hanging you an anxiety attack is basically what I'm saying. Well done. I couldn't have done it better. I couldn't even have tried, Vincent. But to take that and to have a backstory and to leave us with a message that would go beyond something that's even, dare I say, more profound than a woman's leg. I mean, that is deep. Thank you for that gift, Vincent.
Thank you. Let's now look at the next picture and see what that might mean. The question: what is the goat so interested in? World news, or fashion, or French cuisine? And we will ask Sheila to answer this question.
Thank you, Tamara. I heard world news. What was the second one?
Fashion or French cuisine.
Or French cuisine. Okay. Could you show the picture one more time for me?
Okay.
Thank you. Actually, the goat is not interested in world news because his world is eating grass and chasing other goats. So he doesn't even know there's a big world. He just knows a little tiny world, and that is of his stomach. So fashion, oh, he's got those ears. He's not interested in fashion. He knows already how fashionable he looks. And people love to look at goats. But French cuisine, now you've got his attention because he's all about his tummy and his stomach and what he eats every day. He wants to know about French cuisine. He only knows about maybe French fries, but nothing really French. So what he wants to do is explore Sandra Savage's cooking book. Yes, and that's what they're looking at online. I mean, talk about teamwork. What a perfect situation for that goat to look at Sandra Savage's cooking book called Love. What a wonderful day he has in the pasture with this woman sitting down with a computer and looking at French cuisine recipes. Wonderful. Thank you, Tamara.
Thank you. Now we will ask David Thompson to give a snap evaluation on that.
Good plug.
Thank you. Well, I thought it was fascinating because it reminded me of a couple of other questions. And I thought it was indeed all about the teamwork of food and of big events. Do you remember the picture of the chickens and the cat and the dog looking through the window, gazing at the food on the table and wondering how they could open the window and who would get to the gorgeous food first? And perhaps behind them the wedding was happening and the wedding guests were being diverted by the picture of the food at the wedding. And let's face it, which is more interesting, a woman's leg or the gorgeous food at a wedding? And it is, let's face it, all about teamwork. Tamara, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now let's look at the next picture and let's think what that might mean. The question is, the boy is not fidgeting. He is at rest. Will he stay calm if the bird makes its nest? Let's ask Ray to comment on that.
Thank you, Tamara. Got bits of information to give you here. What a fantastic scene. He's at the beach and he's just digging into the sand, and along comes a seagull and sits on his head. Absolute March madness. It's gone absolutely bonkers. He's looking around, and in the foreground, he can see dogs chasing the cats, chickens chasing the goats, and Vincent chasing women's legs. But in the foreground, he has his bucket and spade on the beach, and he's digging and he's trying to get away from that seagull. But he looks happy. He looks like he's enjoying March madness. And, you know, it brings to mind him and his friend, that old African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. So I think he's going to stick with his friend the seagull and just enjoy his March Madness day on the beach. Back to you.
Thank you. And let us ask Belkis to comment, to give a snap evaluation.
Thank
How
you.
about Sandra? Will you give a snap evaluation, please?
Snap evaluation. This is for Ray, huh? You get a little opportunity to get him back. No, I love one of the techniques that Ray does, and that's the callback, the art of the callback. He's been listening intently to everyone, not only looking at the photo and coming up with the story, but referring back to things you all have said, which I think everyone loves to hear their name, their favorite word in the world. So very good on that, and creative. Ray, you're very creative in how you answered that. We understood that this was a precarious situation, and it was kind of fun. I was thinking that, well, no, I'll tell you that in private about the bird slipping off your head. But it was a fun response to the question and to the photo. And again, I just love it that Ray always includes all of us when he's talking and giving his feedback or his answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now let's have a look at the next picture and try to figure out what that might mean. Is this man a workaholic? Does he know how to frolic? And we will ask David McRae to answer this question.
I came across the world of business and entrepreneurship when I was just finishing my time at university. And around about this time, sort of the mid 2010s, Instagram was really starting to peak and capture the interest. And on Instagram, you get sold, you get rich quick, you get sold the lifestyle entrepreneur, this idea that, oh, you can sit on a beach and send a couple of emails and you've got passive income flowing in. Well, no one tells you that you don't get Wi-Fi at the beach. No one tells you what to do when you've got sand underneath your keys. And no one tells you that actually to get into the position of considering sitting on the beach with passive income, you have to do a load of hard work to get into that position. But I think beyond all of those kind of superficial beliefs around being a lifestyle entrepreneur and having passive income coming in all the time, is that work is a real sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. And the idea that you would remove yourself from work, I actually think is a bit of a path to unhappiness. Now, I think the worst thing to do is do work that you don't like, to do work that you don't think is meaningful, to do work that you're not suited to. But the solution to that is not to try and find a way to do no work at all. The solution to that is try to find your special place in the world. I actually have a tattoo in Japanese on my arm. It's Ikigai. And Ikigai translates roughly as your life's purpose or finding meaning in the everyday moments. And that's something that I've started to use as a life philosophy a lot more as I've gotten older. The idea of not trying to escape work and have a life of intense leisure, but rather to find meaningful work and find the pleasure in that purpose.
Thank you.
Toastmaster.
Thank you. Jasper, could you please give a snap evaluation for that?
David brought up the concept of entrepreneurship and how it connected to himself, and that was from university. And I liked how he brought up the example of Instagram and the trends of those get-rich-quick schemes, which reminds me of another trend that relates to this photo is expectations versus reality. And based on what you saw in the photo, the expectation was work a lot and get rich quick. And then the reality, when you saw the man on his laptop in the sand, there was no Wi-Fi on the internet. He was not really reaching the expectations that get rich quick. But that relates to work in general. And David mentioned that to find the best value in work is to find your special place in work, to find what really works well for you and what makes you happy. And what I found interesting is that he connected it to his tattoo. So this was really very relevant to what he'd like to share about work and entrepreneurship and putting value within yourself in the work world. Great job, David.
Thank you. We probably have time for one more picture. We'll do it quickly. And you think, what might that mean? Okay. An elderly lady is using a swing. What do you think made her do such a thing? And we will ask Muriel, could you do that, please?
Okay, we'll have someone else do the timing. Wait, oh, I can do the timing for this. Yes. What is the young boys, and I think I see a young lady there, a little girl. She is instructing them on just what David, I believe, said to, no, not David, the gentleman before, about Ikigai. She is instructing these young people on the best way to live their life. She's giving them examples of what her life has been, the ups, the downs, how the swinging of life was sometimes great, sometimes it wasn't so great. And she's trying to instruct them. She's trying to give them that guidance so that as they grow up, they can avoid some of the pitfalls. And so what I see in this is the opportunity for the older to help guide the younger. And I believe that she's doing a great job because looking at the expressions on their faces, they are engrossed in what she's saying. They seem to be embracing what she's saying because she is explaining how to live a purposeful life, the Ikigai, as it was just shared with us. And so that is what I believe that each one of us can do, is share our experiences, the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that in between, with those that we love to help create a better world in which we all can take a part in. Madam Tabletop is Miss.
Thank you very much. And now we will ask Mariori to give a snap evaluation, please.
What an imagination. That is awesome. I love the way Muriel expressed what she thought was the situation with the lady swinging on that swing, thinking that might be a way of teaching those young boys on the way of life. Because there could be ups and downs, and that is very, very true. And the most interesting thing is how they were looking at the lady. They were looking at lady very, very interested in what she was saying. According to Muriel, they were embracing her really well. Thank you, Muriel, for speaking about what you thought of the lady, because yes, there is a way of to live your life. And I think those children were trying to be a teamwork. Back to you.
Wonderful. At the last moment, you managed to use the word of the day. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, do we have a time for one more picture? No. Okay, we'll leave it for the next time. Thank you very much, all of you. It was such a pleasure to listen to you all, and I'm sure that we really did have fun with these pictures and rhyming questions. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Tamara, what a wonderful job. I can't give you all the credit because it took a great team. It took a teamwork to accomplish that. And to those guests, I know you were thinking about joining us for the speaking and the evaluation. Did you see the rich knowledge and perspective that can enrich your life? I'm always amazed by just how deep we can be and how the information that's shared at these meetings stay with me beyond the meeting. So thank you all for sharing. Madam Timer, do you have a report for us?
Yes, indeed, Mr. Toastmaster. We started with Pat, the snowman or the sandman. He came in at 1 minute and 33 seconds. The snap evaluation done by the one, the only Harold G. He came in at 1 minute and 3 seconds. April was next, talking about her beautiful new grandbaby, Skylar. She did hers in 1 minute and 22 seconds. John Graham gave us a snap evaluation for 39 seconds. Vincent, you still looking at women's legs? I'm glad I wear slacks a lot. Okay, the wedding, 1 minute and 22 seconds. John White, 1 minute. You just made it. Okay, Sheila, tabletop is looking at the goat and the computer. You came in at 55 seconds. Thomas, you were just a little tad under 49 seconds. Ray, table topics, the child on the beach, 58 seconds. The snap evaluation by Sandra. The art of callback, Sandra reminded us of, 1 minute and 4 seconds. And that is all no, I have David at 1 minute and 58 seconds entrepreneurship. Jesper gave us a snap evaluation of 46 seconds. I timed myself at 1 minute and 47 seconds, and Marjorie came in at 33 seconds. That's the best I could do. I'm breathless.
Excellent job. A great listener. Not only a timer's report, but a little tease on what the content was. We are now transitioning to the evaluation portion of the meeting. When this man isn't admiring legs, he's running the general evaluation portion of table topic meetings throughout the world. Mr. Nure, take it over, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President. We have 3 speech evaluators tonight, for me tonight, this morning for you. We have Judith, Harold, and Ray. Let's start with Judith. She will evaluate the speech we heard of David, an international speech. And obviously, we need to give them feedback. We have to tell them what they could do better. So I expect you to tell us where he could improve. Judith, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, and especially David. Could you put David's face on this here instead of Vincent, maybe? I don't know.
It's just you and David now.
Okay, this is a little bit better idea. Okay, so David, your speech titled was Your Best Friend. And where is he? I mean, I can't even see him. This is difficult to do this whole thing. To evaluate somebody, don't even see the person. Okay.
If I speak,
Judith.
that should.
Oh, there you are.
There
Okay.
we go.
Oh, no, it's a good idea to actually see the person you're talking to. Okay. All right, David. So here we go. So the title was It's Your Best Friend. My idea is that it should be called My Best Friend, not Your Best Friend. You're talking about your best friend and my best friend and your best friend. That's just a thought here. Okay, so I was trying to find out what is the major foundational phrase of your speech. Is it embrace our differences, standing by or always standing by our friends? So either one of them, it certainly was a good idea about this whole story of your friend and his and your relationship with your friend. Now, you threw out a few words, sentences into this speech, such as, what other thing could he have that we've seen each other naked? What does that mean? It's unnecessary. It turns out that later you are a heterosexual man. It's not like you had an affair or you had a relationship with this person. So I don't know exactly what that point is. I don't see all my friends naked in general. So I think you have to think about it, what that accomplishes there. Now, the thing is that what I would like to just 2 things. One is it needs to have a little cleaner beginning. I was a little confused at the very beginning of the speech. Where was this going? Secondary is that you need to slow down sometimes because your words somehow are not clear and I couldn't understand some of the words. Maybe this has to do with the way that you pronounce words, but I didn't know what they were. So there were these questions you had is unanswered questions. Now you also put in something like generational hate. So there are things that happens in the speech that you leave there and it's not explained. Also, what I would like to do is to have this as a story. What is a conflict that your friend actually had when he announced that he's bisexual? What does that mean? How did it change his life? I mean, it certainly didn't change yours since you are not in a relationship with him. So whether he is gay or not gay or bisexual, whichever way it is, it certainly did not affect your friendship because you did not have this particular relationship. And as you talked about that, we became friends in spite of our differences. And it is a great thing to have that. But to me, the speech was a little bit disjointed. So I suggest that if you would just tell us a story about your friend. There was this man, I met him when I was in school, it was. And then we had our life, and then he changed and he struggled. And yes, it's difficult being a gay person in some cultures. It is true, but it needs to have something of the other side of the story of his. What did he struggle with? And what did your friendship meant to him? What did it mean? What did you do for him that made this friendship really stronger? Therefore, his life would be different or something. And that's what I am trying to see what exactly your message is. Your message is that we have to stand up by our friends, and which is certainly is a very good message. But it just needs a little bit on the other side. So there is some kind of a conflict thing here. What is his issues, your issue, and how does all come together? And so that's my thought. And I am not a person who actually likes the idea at the end of the story. How about you? So it depends. But so you can think of this. What is the best ending for you? What you learned and how that changed you actually as well as changed him and made your friendship stronger. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judith. Thank you very much for your evaluation. The next person to this virtual stage is Harold, who will give feedback on Shantae's breathtaking talk about her organizing a district meeting. Harold, the stage is yours.
Fellow Toastmasters, and particularly Shantae. Now, Shantae, as I mentioned to you beforehand, she's a skillful speaker. She has a wonderful sense of joy in her voice. Now, the topic, her speech today was creating a D1 Expo. Creating a D1 Expo. She gave you a wonderful flow of ideas on how to do it. It reminded me of a tapestry that she's created. She's a meticulous artist. And part of that tapestry, one of the main threads was that she had to attract members. Now, why? The why she has the District 1, and then that's part of her a title, by the way, creating D1 Expo. She should point out that as District 1, our district is shrinking. We're not that popular. We need people. And she's going to get out there and get those people. What does she do? Okay, she's part of a team. That's right, she has a teamwork. She has people who, the executive committee, they helped her. She points out they got a large room. They attracted 4,747 clubs to participate. That is part of the tapestry and wonder of her wonderful, thoughtful speech. Now, how could this speech be even better? It was a great speech. It was terrific. How could it be even better? Let me share you the secret. She should have, in my humble opinion, put pauses on certain points that she wanted you to remember. Marketing, she has to get a buy-in, and she used the word buy-in. Critical. She had to get a location. She got it. She worked with a team, her executive committee. And at the very end, instead of having fun, and she had fun, her whole presentation was thoughtful, organized, had wonderful meat, And she had this overlay of fun in her voice. But her conclusion, I would have gone back and said, you have to have marketing. You have to have people who want to be part of your club. Why would they want to be part of your club? Show them with your club members how that is so very critical. She is a wonderful speaker. I say again, I was impressed. I was so enthralled with her speech, I even forgot at moments I was evaluating her, because she is a wonderful speaker. But as I say, use pause, use various pauses to put punch in those areas that you want the audience to remember. We need more members. Oh, fellow Toastmasters, we need teamwork also. A return control to our general evaluator.
Thank you very much, Harold. What a lovely evaluation indeed. I will quickly ask our grammarian, Jasper, onto the virtual stage to ask him if anybody used the teamwork word of the day, and what is your feedback on the use of grammar and rhetorics?
Yes. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Today, unfortunately, we did fall short of the word teamwork. I was wishing for more teamwork today, because that would have brought more teamwork into using the more teamwork. Maybe I'm just trying to get some last-minute teamwork in there. I did hear a handful of ahs and ums, and several, well, more than enough so's, which reminds me of what April said at a previous meeting. We are not a so-so club, we are the masters of evaluation. But with that said, I'd like to quiz everyone in the room. So I am going to share my screen and bring up and test your listening skills. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Who said, I wanted to do something fun, but also grow the district?
Shantae.
Shantae.
That was Shantae. You may have seen me running at TLI running around.
Shantae.
It was Shantae as well. The children were part of teamwork.
Muriel.
Mm-mm.
April, I'm guessing.
Uh-oh.
No, it was the one with the little kids lining up with the, who did that one?
Marjorie.
That was actually Marjorie in her evaluation.
Oh.
She has a tapestry. She's a meticulous artist.
Harold.
That was Harold. We're best friends because of our differences.
David.
David.
That was David. You need to expect the unexpected.
Tamara.
Shantae.
That was actually Sandra in her introduction
It's
to
true.
David.
Oh.
Who's this genius I'm sat next to?
David.
That is David. Will you have the courage to embrace others because of their differences? That was also David.
David.
That's an existential question for you to think about.
Pat.
Pat.
That was Pat. She is instructing them the best way to live life.
Muriel.
Muriel. The goat is looking at Sandra's cookbook. I love this one.
Sheila.
That was Sheila.
Good shout out. Good book, too.
Great plug-in on the cookbook. Look at the cars in the background. This is a movie.
Vincent.
Vincent. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Sheila. Shantae.
That was Shantae and John. Those creatures are looking at my new great niece. April. And that concludes today's quiz. Great job, everyone. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jasper. Well done. I mean, he shows that he can not only listen, but he can also write fast. He does write extremely fast. He uses those lines. My feedback to today's meeting will be in three parts. One about the general meeting, about the evaluators, and about your general evaluator. Number one, the meeting itself. I liked the idea of March Madness. I liked April's words of saying we have to pay attention to how we communicate. I think that is the essence of what Toastmasters is about, and particularly Masters of Evaluation. Suddenly, in the middle of the meeting, a message came up, and it says, here is your rear AI meeting notes. Do you want to accept that, or do you want to leave the meeting? Now, I'm not quite sure whether we all agree on having artificial intelligence inside our meetings, but I mean, having the option of either leaving or accepting perhaps is not all right. I love Tamara's rhyme in her table topics. She takes great pride in using language, particularly being a second language. She does so well. I mean, I really, she says this thwing and the thing, and she does make that wonderfully well. Talking about the two evaluators, I loved Harold's evaluation because he did give feedback, and he even gave examples of how she could use those pauses in her speech. And that is important because if we give feedback, let's tell them how it looked or how it would look differently if we used these suggestions. With Judith's evaluation, I feel we need we have to be positive. I mean, whenever we have the privilege to listen to a speaker, really, we are not here to just call it all rubbish, start all over again, but we need to listen to what is valuable, help them perhaps less in the contents and more in the structure of the speech, of how to make this speech better. Because in the end, it is a privilege for us to have a guest from Scotland coming over to deliver that speech to us. Therefore, my suggestion would be, look at the opening. Do you think you suggested that you should change the title instead of your friend or my friend, it should be your friend. I think that basically our evaluations should be positive, and it should be something which are easy to implement. If there are too many, there should not be more than 3 recommendations. If there are more than that, probably it's impossible to remember those and to implement them. Part number 3, talking about your general evaluator, because tonight for me, this morning for you, is going to be the last time I will be speaking to you as a member of Master of Evaluation. And the next meeting on the 15th of March, I will be in the air between Barcelona and Lisbon, so I won't be able to join. And I won't renew because my life in Toastmasters after 11 years has come to an end. I'm leaving all the 3 clubs I've been part of. I will try new things. I will meet new challenges, and I thoroughly enjoyed being part of this great community, of this teamwork spirit. And I miss you each and individually one. And I will come back as a guest here and again. But I would like to tell you that I love you all, and I'm happy that I've been part of the family for, I think, about a year and a half or 2. I can't remember. Thank you very much.
Well, with that, let's give him a round of applause as general evaluator and as a member. He's been a huge part of the MoE teamwork for a couple years. Indelible. You never say, have I met Vincent Murray? If you met him, he's left a mark, an impression that will last beyond your days here at MoE. Thank you so much, Vincent, and best wishes to you. But you can come in and visit and say hi from time to time, please, when you've resettled.
I most certainly will.
Yeah, thank you so much. Muriel, did you have a timing report on the evaluators?
Yes, Judith evaluated David, my best friend. She came in at 4 minutes and 19 seconds. And excuse me, Hal evaluated Shantae, creating a D1 Expo. He came in at 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Before I ask for the guest comment, earlier we talked about Tamara's success at an evaluation contest. I did not have this knowledge, but I've been updated. Mr. Caslin is a member of a number of clubs, it's a long story, but for the purposes of this, let me remind you, he's a member of Schilling and a member of Tara. And he had an international and an evaluation competition for both. We want to congratulate Mr. Casson. In Schilling, he placed first in international and first in evaluation. Hold your applause, there's more news. In Tara, he finished first in international and he got tired of finishing first. He said, how does second feel? So he came in second at evaluation just so someone else could have the first place prize. Let's get a round of applause to Pat Caslin. He's trying to be humble. What did Mark Twain and Confucius say about that? They said, let me be quiet, let a smart man talk. That's Pat Caslin. All right, we are now going to hear from the guests quickly. We're running late because we're so filled with evaluations at the back end of this meeting. Mr. McCrae, what did you think of our meeting?
Yeah, I loved the rhyming table topics. I've seen people try and do a little bit of rhyming couplet before, but to be that consistent through everything was very impressive. I thought that was fantastic. Doing the little snap evaluation straight after as well, when everything's fresh in people's minds, I think helps. I'm going to disagree with Vincent slightly. I found it really helpful that Judith picked my speech apart. I know what I'm doing well with this speech by now. I kind of need to know what's not working for people. So I appreciate that she just gave me like a laundry list of things to look at. I didn't necessarily agree with everything that she said, but I can't do anything unless someone gives me that information and gives me some thought. So I actually really appreciated Judith kind of twisting the knife in a little bit, because that's going to help me to improve the speech going forward.
Wonderful. So what I heard was what you received from Judith was loving feedback, some of which you will take, others you will leave. And Vicky says, take the best and leave the rest. So that's
constructive. That's the word.
That's the word. Thank you. Constructive. Perhaps word of the day in the future. We now move on to our next guest. Funmi, how are you? Did I say right?
Actually, I connected to two devices. Okay,
Did you enjoy the meeting?
I loved the meeting. I was invited by DTM Muriel Shabazz, my sister, and I was particularly bedazzled by the fact that every speaker has an evaluator. Then I love the ingenious way the table topics master showed pictures. I particularly like the question, some birds are gathered at your window, what are they talking about? And I love the reply of the lady. Oh, they're talking about my new niece. I have a little baby in the house. So that was beautiful. By the way, speaking from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, in West Africa. It's 7:34 p.m. right? Yeah, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you very much, Muriel, for inviting me. Thank you. I'll be here again.
All right.
Thank you for your feedback. Just so you know, this was a representative meeting. We do this every first and third Friday, and we'd love to have you come visit again and join us. Speaking of someone who's right on the precipice of jumping over and joining, Sheila, you continue to contribute more than possibly any guest has. I'm almost embarrassed that you're not a member yet, but go ahead as a guest, perhaps the last time we hear of you as a guest. What were your thoughts?
Okay, I want to give kudos to Vincent. I totally agree with him on his evaluation because like your saying says, evaluate to elevate, evaluate to elevate. And now David was so kind to enjoy his picking a part of his speech. I think he could have, or she, in Judith's case, done that personally without us because an evaluation is for all of us. It's for the audience. And I dare say, if I give a speech here, I'm going to be terrified if some people evaluate me. So that's me. But evaluate to elevate. That's the main point. And Vincent, we will miss you. And I love your philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback. Any other guests? Belkis? Will you be back and will you take on table topics? That's what the entire world wants to know, Belkis.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. And I really enjoyed being in the meeting. Really nice. I like the table topics, the evaluation. I love the final phrase, love the best, leave the rest. I'm going to keep that in mind when I have my evaluations.
Great. Thank you for your feedback, and we would love to have you back. Great. Shante, that was the most, the funniest smile. Okay, there you go. Okay, we're running a little late as usual, but it was great content at the end. That's what I think differentiates our club. It was a great teamwork, team effort. The meeting is adjourned. See you in